Welcome to Tales of Honor, a podcast with a mission to tell the true stories of every recipient of our nation's highest military award, the Medal of Honor. Hello everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Tales of Honor podcast. I'm your host, Christoph Ambrosch, and today's episode is number 616. It's the first one of the month of May, so happy May to everybody. I do have one correction to go over today. I don't have any birthdays, but the correction I have is in reference to a birthday, not on the last episode, but 2 episodes ago for Mr. Brian Thacker. I caught it much later when I was actually listening back to the episode after it had already been published and I was already away for the weekend on a road trip. I said that he earned his Medal of Honor for his actions during the war in Afghanistan, and that is very incorrect, as you'll learn today, because he is the recipient that we're going to talk about today. He earned the Medal of Honor for his actions in the Vietnam War. So that is just one correction. I don't know why on earth that even came out of my mouth, but it was wrong, and I think what I'm more disappointed in is not in the fact that I missed it, but that nobody corrected me on it. None of you even questioned that somebody in their 70s earned the Medal of Honor in Afghanistan. But I will forgive you all, and we'll move right along and pretend that it didn't happen. As you already know who the recipient is going to be today, so let's get in with today's Tale of Honor. Brian was born on the 25th of April, 1945 in Columbus, Ohio, and since his father was recalled to service in the Korean War and decided to make a career out of the Air Force, Brian moved around a lot as a child. He was living in Utah when he graduated high school and went on to attend Weber State University, where he joined the Reserve Officer Training Corps program to prevent being drafted before graduation. Brian was commissioned after graduation, and after spending a few months in Germany, he was deployed to the Republic of Vietnam. He wasn't anti-war or anti-government or anti-military, but he would have preferred that the war in Vietnam would be over before having to go there. When he arrived in country in the fall of 1970, Brian was a first lieutenant, and it was his actions on the 31st of March, 1971, that would later earn him the Medal of Honor. The citation reads,
First Lieutenant Brian M Thacker, while serving as team leader of an integrated observation system, 92nd Artillery at Fire Base 6 in Kon Tum Province, Republic of Vietnam, on the 31st of March, 1971.
For conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity in action at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty, First Lieutenant Thacker, Field Artillery, Battery A, distinguished himself while serving as a team leader of an integrated observation system co-located with elements of 2 Army of the Republic of Vietnam units at Fire Base 6. A numerically superior North Vietnamese Army force launched a well-planned dawn attack on the small, isolated hilltop firebase. Employing rockets, grenades, flamethrowers, and automatic weapons, the enemy forces penetrated the perimeter defenses and engaged the defenders in hand-to-hand combat. Throughout the morning and early afternoon, First Lieutenant Thacker rallied and encouraged the U.S. and Republic of Vietnam soldiers in heroic efforts to repulse the enemy. He occupied a dangerously exposed observation position for a period of 4 hours while directing friendly airstrikes and artillery fire against the assaulting enemy forces. His personal bravery and inspired leadership enabled the outnumbered friendly forces to inflict a maximum of casualties on the attacking enemy forces and prevented the base from being overrun. By late afternoon, the situation had become untenable. First Lieutenant Thacker organized and directed the withdrawal of the remaining friendly forces. With complete disregard for his personal safety, he remained inside the perimeter alone to provide covering fire with his M16 rifle until all other friendly forces had escaped from the besieged fire base. Then, in an act of supreme courage, he called for friendly artillery fire on his own position to allow his comrades more time to withdraw safely from the area and at the same time inflict even greater casualties on the enemy forces. Although wounded and unable to escape from the area himself, he successfully eluded the enemy forces for 8 days until friendly forces regained control of the firebase. The extraordinary courage and selflessness displayed by First Lieutenant Thacker were an inspiration to his comrades and are in the highest traditions of the military service. It was assumed by those who had witnessed Brian's actions that there was no way that he could have survived. He had left the firebase but decided that it would be better to sit still in a thick bamboo patch than it was to keep walking through enemy territory. He was far enough away from the base that the enemy probably wouldn't sweep out to his position, but close enough to return to the base if it was ever retaken by friendly forces. Brian stayed hidden for 8 days, and when the fire base was retaken, he was evacuated to a hospital. He had no food or water during that time and was only allowed to have half a canteen cap of water every 15 minutes at first. Brian wasn't allowed to return to his unit, and it took him months to recover, and he returned home, going to work for the Veterans Administration. 2 years later, on the 15th of October, 1973, Brian received the Medal of Honor from President Nixon in a ceremony at the White House, along with 8 others. He went on to work at the VA for 32 years, and he retired in 2004, going on to speak at schools and organizations and reminding them that he wears the medal not for himself, but for those that he lost that day. Brian Miles Thacker is 78 years old at the time of this recording. And that was a Tale of Honor. Thank you for listening to Tales of Honor, and if you enjoyed the show, please be sure to subscribe and tell your friends and family. Tales of Honor is written and produced by Christoph Ambrosch, and theme music is Loyalty and Duty by Floruz Music. If you have any questions, you can send an email to talesofhonorpodcast@gmail.com, and please be sure to visit talesofhonorpodcast.com for more episodes and information.